Hey y'all, thanks for clicking on my video. Welcome or welcome back if you're returning. My name is Emily and I make just for fun videos about fragrance, makeup, and whatever I feel like. Maybe I'll start weaving some of my other interests into this channel as well. It's just kind of when I feel like, what I feel like, very casual. And I haven't made any videos in several weeks because I've been in the process of canonically moving into my boyfriend's apartment. I've basically been living here for a couple of years anyway and just keeping my stuff at my old place, but I finally actually moved. So a lot of my things have been packed up and I've just had a lot of activity going on. So I haven't had a chance to make a video, but now I am pretty much unpacked, settled in. I've colonized every room with little statues of dogs and Gila monsters and stuff, so I'm feeling pretty content. And so I thought I would talk about something that I discovered sort of while I was in the process of moving. So at my old place, there is this awesome store called Wholesale Hookup, about like a 5-minute drive away from where I used to live. And it's just what you would imagine, just like wholesale, deeply discounted products, lots of like bath and body and household item products. And I was like, I'm gonna check that out because I bet there's some kind of fragrance stuff going on there. And sure enough, I encountered these perfect scent clone fragrances, and they are just totally blatant, you know, inspired by, like, they have the name of the inspiration fragrance on there. So not trying to do anything remotely original. But they were all $3 and $3 for 100 milliliters, which is 3.4 fluid ounces. And I was like, okay, I mean, even if they aren't that good, it's $3. And pleasantly enough, some of them actually are quite good. It seems like this brand is normally sold in CVS, and they seem to retail for between like $8 and like $15-ish. Some are eau de toilette concentrations and some are eau de parfum. And I just pretty much picked up all the ones that I saw, except there was one like Baccarat Rouge inspired fragrance, which smelled really good when I sprayed it in store, but I already have a little sort of the finery, I think it's called New Rouge. I have like a little 7 milliliter of that. So I was like, okay, I don't need like 2 Baccarat clones, but I don't know. Now I'm kind of regretting not picking it up because it's $3 for 100 milliliters and it's pretty good. So I thought I'd talk about some of these, and I don't know how interested people are in hearing about clones. Like, I know it's not like a super sexy concept and fragrance, and also if you're like really into like the niche and like the artistry, you know, you want to know about the most sort of the innovation and all that. And so I know the clone doesn't really have the same sort of clout. I know people are really into kind of like dupes or substitutes, but to me that's a little bit different than like, okay, like for example, Cloud by Ariana Grande is considered by a lot of people to be sort of a dupe for Baccarat Rouge. Like, obviously it's a fragrance that draws inspiration from the Baccarat DNA, probably uses a lot of the same like aroma chemicals and, you know, a lot of the same fragrance notes. But it's not, you know, it has its own marketing, it has its own name. It's not trying to be, clearly it's like, okay, we're hopping on the trend, but we're not just like, here's Barricot or something. And then this seems to be like a step down in terms of just being a little more like tacky and just like, this is for you because you're poor. I remember when I was a kid, I was a kid in the 90s, and there was designer imposters fragrances, and I think they still are out there. They usually come in like an aerosol spray now, and it's put out by Parfum Decor. But I remember at the time seeing some, very like scandalous designer imposters, like, shh, don't tell, type ads. And I remember one of my friend's mom had a, ooh, whoa, where's that blood coming from? Where is that blood coming? And one of my friend's mom had some on her dresser, and I remember just feeling like I don't think I totally understood what they were because I was a child, or but I just felt like, oh, there's something like bad or illicit about these because of the word imposter. I was like, okay, I know that's bad, to like pretend to be someone else. And I guess they, they made it be kind of this like sneaky seeming commercial. So I just remember like seeing this on the dresser and being like, oh no, like, oh, it's like, I'd found drugs or something. Like, I felt like, oh, this is really bad, and I don't know how I feel about it. But anyway, yeah, these are like the modern day sort of designer imposters. I will say they're less sort of tacky looking. They're just sort of an inoffensive, glass bottle. But yeah, let me just share the ones that I got. So I picked up 6. I actually originally picked up 7 because I picked up one, the Joe Malone. I think it's like sage and sea salt. And first of all, that one was just a rollerball, which I don't really enjoy using rollerballs for alcohol-based perfume. It just, I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. And also, yeah, that just smelled like perfumer's alcohol. Like, it didn't smell like anything. So I already decluttered it. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend that one. So the first one, these are, I'll share the parfums first, and these have blue labels and are part of the platinum collection, I'm assuming, because of the higher perfume oil concentration. So the first one is Patchouli Musk, inspired by Creed Aventus. I have not actually ever smelled Aventus, like, at least knowingly. I might have, out in the wild, but yeah, it's a nice opening. It's got something bright, and I think it's supposed to be a pineapple note, but to me it comes off a little bit like lemon pledgy. And then there's also sort of a mossy patchouli mixed in. I sprayed some on my arm too. And I have to say, I really don't like this one that much. I don't like their, this brand's like patchouli note, it seems like. Which is unusual because normally I really, really like patchouli in perfumes. But this, it comes off, I don't know how to explain it exactly. It's like dirty, but not in the like wet, earthy way that patchouli can be dirty. It's more, it's almost like a stale, like musty, it kind of reminds me of like stale cigarette smoke or something, the way that they do their patchouli. And I don't know, yeah, it just smells kind of dingy and dirty on my skin. So this one, just taken on its own merits, while I like certain things about it, I don't love it, and I don't see myself reaching for this. I'm probably going to get rid of it. There is something really pretty in the top though. And, you know, comparing it to Creed, I can't do that. I'm assuming the Creed one's going to be a lot smoother and probably just more complex in the blend. Yeah, I think Creed is maybe supposed to be like a Chypre accord, and I don't get that from that. It's just kind of this very like discombobulated just layering of notes. So I don't know. It's okay, but it's not great. Okay, the second platinum collection is Tonka Tobacco, which is inspired by Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. And I love how half-assedly the label was slapped on, very off-center. This one I love. I mean, the vanilla tobacco combo is just, yeah, this smells great. It kind of smells like a Swisher Sweet. I'm not mad about that. I'm almost getting some kind of spice. Not like a hot spice, but like a, maybe like cardamom or something. I might just be tripping, but yeah, this smells great. Based on my limited experience with Tobacco Vanille spraying it in Sephora, I would say it's pretty similar. This one's pretty linear. It's just that vanilla tobacco. And this one actually has an incredible sillage. Like, I sprayed this on in my room and I came back several hours later and it was still like lingering in the air. And it's just such a, I don't know, to me, such a welcoming, I mean, tobacco is just always feels very cozy and welcoming. And sort of masculine, but not in an overly aggressive way. So yeah, I really like that one. It lasts forever, good sillage, performs well, definitely worth the $3. And then into the eau de toilette, one that unfortunately was a miss for me is the Thierry Mugler Angel. Again, I just don't like how they do their patchouli. Okay, the opening actually, again, the opening's kind of nice. You know, it's got that sweet praline with the grounding patchouli. But again, it has that same like really funky dry down on my skin where it just tastes kind of, I mean, it smells kind of musty and kind of like stale. And, you know, Angel is like tricky anyway. It's definitely not a fragrance that everyone likes because that combo, like the sweet gourmand and then the really powerful patchouli note, is very weird and it can be a little off-putting or nauseating. To me, this doesn't have anything close to the body and complexity of Angel. Smelling it on paper, again, I actually am liking it, but I feel like it wears really gross on my skin. I'm gonna spray it in the crook of my arm and then probably end up regretting it and scrubbing it. Like, I tried to wear this, I think, 2 or 3 times, and every time I end up just really not enjoying the experience. Which gives me pause about actually getting Angel. I thought I wanted to get Angel, but now I'm like, if I dislike this much, maybe I don't want Angel. So I need to get like a decant or something. Yeah, the sweetness just gets like sucked away on my skin and it's just kind of ugh, it's like kind of herbaceous in a bad way. So yeah, that one's no. But a pretty one that I think is pretty reminiscent of the original is the J'adore. This is also an EDT concentration. And J'adore is one that just, you know, sniffing around in store, I was like, it's very pretty, but it's like, it wasn't on my list. Like, I'm not super compelled by it. It's just kind of like, okay, that's pretty. A lot of the accords smell familiar, and it's not something that just I find very compelling at all. But having it in this $3 iteration, I mean, for that price, I'm quite happy to have it. Yeah, okay, it smells to me really like clean and bright and juicy, like a little fruity. Apparently this was inspired by, the original J'adore was inspired by gold, which I can definitely smell. It's kind of this bright, glinting, I mean, not metallic and not, you know, too assertive, but something you imagine someone wearing, you know, some delicate gold earrings or some jewelry and it kind of catching the light, and just that kind of, you know, pretty, I wouldn't call it like ethereal, but I would call it, it's very like, woo, it's up here, it's sort of, yeah, it's just super, super pretty and likable. And again, you know, I think performs great, has pretty good projection, longevity. Definitely glad to have it for the price. Then I got Estee Lauder Beautiful, inspired by. And this one is supposed to be, oh my God. This is supposed to be like kind of mega flowers, mega floral. I get a little, okay, I'm getting a little bit of kind of like an indolic lily. I don't know if that's listed in the notes. I'm definitely getting lily. There's also something green in here. A little bit of like, I wouldn't even call it bitter, but almost like touching bitterness, where it's like a galbanum or something. So, you know, compared to the J'adore, like this one is just sweet and flowery. This one's definitely less sweet. Still very floral and still, I want to say a little bit aldehydic or soapy, but kind of more mellow, less like, it's bold and it's definitely like a big smell, but it's not like, I guess, announcing itself as much or insisting on itself, and it's not insisting on its like femininity, I guess, whereas this one's like very girly. Yeah, I love the Beautiful, and I've been going to bed with it. My only experience with the actual Beautiful is pretty limited because I just sprayed it at an Estee Lauder counter at I actually went to our dying mall. We have a very decrepit mall in my town that has maybe 10 stores left open in it, and they're actually going to demolish part of the mall and redevelop it and leave part of it, which is super weird. But there's one anchor store there still. The Belk is like hanging on for dear life, and I don't know how. But I was like, you know, maybe there's some counters at Belk and some open perfume I can smell. So I went there, and there was like nothing. Like the few perfumes they had were, you know, under lock and key, and the only ones that were out were the Estee Lauders, which I was really excited about. And I smelled pretty much all of them. Like there wasn't a dud among them. They were all great. I think my favorites were, oh God, let me think. My favorites were definitely Bronze Goddess, and then the new Bronze Goddess flanker, the Agio one, which is like a salty fig type fragrance that's actually on my wish list. And then they had Pleasures, which is another green floral. They had White Linen, which is a really beautiful, very aldehydic, just striking fragrance. I think that's a Sophia Grossman, and it's great. They had Beautiful. They had I think Beautiful Magnolia, and then kind of, it was funny, like kind of tucked away behind the main display, there were all the open, like sort of OG ones. So they had Knowing, they had Cinnabar, they had just the original like Estee, and those ones are definitely more sort of dated and old school smelling, definitely more like, I want to say like mossy and kind of intense, but yeah, everything from this house I thought smelled really good. And I really like this knockoff. Yeah, I like going to sleep with it. It's just kind of one of those that puts you in a good mood. It was kind of marketed as a wedding fragrance. I think I might have said that already. Yeah, super pretty. And then my favorite actually of the whole batch is this Inspired by JLo Glow. And I've been hearing a lot about, you know, JLo Glow perpetually comes up in the like best cheapies roundup videos. Yeah, the opening is like a very sheer salty rose. That's so pretty. And yeah, it does really well on skin. It's just kind of a, let me see. Yeah, I'm chiefly getting the rose now. It's interesting, when I was wearing this a lot in my old room, I was getting another note that I'm not able to sniff out right now. But yeah, I mean, this is just super pretty, cozy. It just makes you smell like fresh and very soft and femme. It's kind of funny that they have an Inspired by of this, because the original Glow is like pretty inexpensive. I think you can get it on like discount sites for like 20 bucks. So to have a $15 or however many $10 Inspired by fragrance is really funny. But yeah, like last week I was just totally vibing and loving that. I'm actually looking up, okay, I got this perfume guide by Daniel Barros. Sorry, I cannot roll my R's, but it's like a Portuguese name, I believe. So let me see. So yeah, the original Glow, JLo requested the composition to convey a sensation of clean, freshly washed skin. I'm reading here. Combine notes of grapefruit, neroli, rose, jasmine, iris, sandalwood, and musk. Yeah, I'm having a harder time right now sniffing out the neroli and grapefruit, but in my other environment, it was really coming out, and it just kind of, yeah, just lent this really sweet, pleasant, clean kind of dewy aquatic vibe to the perfume, and I just found it really like likable and comforting to wear. Now, all these scents, I don't know. I mean, I feel great about getting them for $3 a piece. At their full retail price, I don't know if I consider them really worth it. I feel like, I mean, if that's your budget, that's your budget, and that's cool. I think the Beautiful and the J'adore are really great. I think for the price, I'm curious how this compares because I've never smelled the original Glow, but it might be better to just get the original. But this is really pretty. I mean, would this be worth, yeah, this could potentially be worth like $10-ish. The Tobacco Vanille, definitely worth that. The other two I don't really like. If I'd spent 60 plus on all these, I wouldn't be as enthused, but as like a wholesale hookup thing, it was definitely a really fun discovery. So yeah, that's my roundup of perfect scents. And it would almost be funny if it was it's like a triple entendre, right? Because scents, and scents. But yeah, that's my little roundup. I have got some other new perfume kind of on the cheaper end to talk about, but I just wanted to do this in a separate video, so I may be back soon to talk about some of my other acquisitions. I hope you have a wonderful and fragrant day, and you do something good for yourself and something good for someone around you or someone far away from you. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.